Good evening, and thank you for coming to the 10th Annual Lake County Film Festival. Hopefully you just watched the film Cabarete, which is directed by Ivan Bordas, who is going to join us right now for a Q&A to talk about the film.
Hey,
Ivan,
Matt.
how is
Hey,
it?
Matt. Yeah, good. Thank you for hosting. Yes, yes.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us. I was just about to say, when I saw your film come through our system, I said, "Wow, a film from the Dominican Republic. It's not, I am not the most worldly. You may notice that our festival is relatively U.S. focused. I have, maybe 20% is non-U.S. related, but I don't think I'd ever seen one from the Dominican Republic before." And my kid's stepfather is my kid's godfather is from the Dominican Republic. He's from Puerto Plata. And I was really excited. And then the movie turned out to be so good. And then I dug a little bit into your backstory, and that was so cool too. So I'm really glad to have you here to talk about it.
Well, thank you so much for presenting Cabarete and for hosting the Q&A. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have regarding the movie. It was a great experience, and I'm actually very happy that it's getting into your festival, because it's like, I love America. We want the movie to go everywhere. The more people that see it, the better. And if you have a local community based mostly, that's great, because that way I feel like a local if I go to Lake County sometime in the future.
Yes, that would be awesome. So you're from the Dominican Republic, is that right?
Yes. I'm born and raised.
From where?
Born and raised near Puerto Plata. It's like the province right next to it. It's like 40-minute drive up and 50 minute, and I'm there in Puerto Plata. Yeah, we shot the entire movie in Puerto Plata, by the way, which is in the north. People that don't know this, is in the northern coast of the Dominican Republic.
I haven't been, but Tomas goes, twice a year or so for a week or two. They've been building kind of a retirement place to go to, and so I see lots of photos and hear all about it. My mother-in-law went a couple years ago, and we've always thought that we might all go down there at some point, but we just haven't gotten there yet. He might have a few more years to retire. I'm sure at some point we'll get to go down there. So you left and you went to USC. That's right?
Yeah. I, again, born and raised in the island. I wanted to spend time doing films down there, and came out to USC to do the masters. And
what was your film diet like there?
What? Sorry?
What was your film diet like? What were you consuming while you were there?
Oh my God. I mean, like, Dominican Republic, it's US, it's close to the US, so we get a lot of the US stuff. So in the cinemas, I mean, all the big blockbusters, like, I'm a big Spielberg fan. I'm a sucker for all his movies and all the Nolan movies, and you got Kubrick. So we share that a lot with the United States, but we also get some like European movies down there, and we saw those, and also Latin movies. So like, there's this especially Argentinian cinema. It's so good. Like, if you see Nueve Reinas, nine kings or queens, and if you see The Secret in Her Eyes, El Secreto de Sus Ojos, it's an Argentinian movie, very good. I mean, the quality of the filmmaking, it's top notch. Wild Tales, another one, fantastic.
Well, that one guy. Oh God, they made the American remake Criminal.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the original was. It was better. And then he only made 2 movies and he died. I'm spacing on his name, and I didn't want to hit the IMDb here. But so this actually kind of touches a lot about what the festival is, and that you did not have Dominican cinema that you were able to really grow up on, did you? Like, were there people around you making movies?
Okay, yeah. So like, my connection started in the way remote, directly with the TV, like going out to the cinema, watching a movie, and being like, I remember watching, the original Mission Impossible. I remember watching What Lies Beneath. I'm just random. These are not necessarily my favorite movies, but like, those, Jaws particularly, one of my favorite movies, and connecting with that. Now, the Dominican Republic does have a like a thriving film industry though. Like that is something, but it's mostly connected to the local industry though. Like in recent years, it has gone internationally. So like there was one movie that made it out to Sundance for the first time in history 2 years ago, I believe, and that was a huge. Everybody was celebrating down in DR. This year, we've had several movies that have done the festival circuit, like renowned festivals. So there's a big film tax law. There's a lot of support for the community, film community, and they are making films. So yeah, even Pinewood set up a studio down there. So now they're making big movies that are from, maybe you don't know it's Dominican Republic. Maybe you think it's Cuba. Maybe you think it's like somewhere in a Colombian forest in the middle. I don't know. But they're shooting it down there because it's close and they have all the facilities. So for us, it was, I was already kind of like, when I did USC, I found that Eden in USC, like all the film nerds like me. And we're all talking movies. We're all like reading scripts, going to the cinema to watch movies together, going to all this Q&A with all these great filmmakers. I mean, it's heaven. And what I did was, like, when I graduated, I had this idea because I grew up kind of next to Cabarete, and I already had the idea for the movie. I kind of wrote a draft on it, collaborated with some friends of mine on subsequent drafts, and went down and shot it. But I brought some of my friends from USC. So some of it's a little bit of a hybrid. I took the best from both worlds. I'd say I took the best from Dominican Republic because I'm born and raised there. These people are my friends. Like we used to go out and kite surf together. I do kite surf, and I knew the world. But then I kind of studied story and studied the basics and not the basics, but I'm saying like the way that they did movies in the USC or in the US, and kind of like wanted to bring that together back. Yeah, and I think it was a good mixture.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously it turned out great. Yeah, it's so interesting that I mean, a region not that at least what's reached here is not really known. Somebody kind of coming back home. We have a similar story here. Our closing night last year was somebody that grew up here and felt that there wasn't enough of opportunity. He's much older than he's the generation before you. He's a little older than me, and so there was nothing there. And so he left and he went to Hollywood. He wrote Dragonheart, and he wrote and directed some movies. And he came back to make a movie about kind of growing up here. And you didn't have a 20-year wait between, but I really connected to that in that, there's not a lot coming out of there. So it must have been really exciting for everybody that you were bringing a film crew and making a real movie actually about Dominicans,
Yeah, so like Dominican Republic, the capital is in the southern coast, right? This is in the northern coast. So we had to actually, one of them, when we were filming this, I'm from the northern coast. I'm not at the coast, but I was like in the valley, right after the mountains. And so like there's a very particular way that we talk. Also, like there are different accents in between the island. So this is going to be imperceptible for most of the people that watch the movie. But one of the things that I wanted to do, I actually wanted to cast most of the people from the northern part. Like, I wanted to get that accent right, That's like putting a Southern with a New York accent in the US. It's just maybe somebody from Europe or Latin America won't see the difference. But if you're from the US and you see a Southerner being like with a New York accent, you're like a Yankee, what's going on here, So like we did that with Cabarete. We wanted to be completely honest to this world, and that means shooting everything on location on the northern coast. And the main character was actually somebody that had never acted before. It's somebody from that area with that vibe. Now, granted, we didn't cast him. I didn't cast him because he was good at kitesurfer, although he was in a pool of kitesurfer. But it was because of the energy, the energy of the vibe. So when you see this, you're seeing an actor that I trained that had never acted before, but is also a true kitesurfer from Cabarete. So we're blending some of the elements together, so you get a little bit more of that actual feeling of what it is to be there. Like if you look at the colors now, mind you, the colors were done in Hollywood, and the person that did the colors, it's doing the new James Bond. It hasn't come out because of COVID reasons and whatnot. But what I'm saying to that is that through a connections that we had access to great things here in LA. I basically, you throw yourself into the ground and you say, help me out, brother, and try to get the best. And like more often than not, you're going to get people that are willing to help you all the way that they can. And this is kind of like what happened with that company, eFilm. And but if you see, the colors are very much natural, connected to what it feels to be like the blue of the Caribbean. Now, because it's very different from the blue in California, I'm saying the blue in California, but the color of the sea in California, which not remotely as the Caribbean. So I wanted to make an homage to what it is to be there, because it does feel this way when you're there. Like you go from like playing domino to like grabbing a couple of beers with your friends, if you're overaged, of course, and going out to the clubs and dancing, spending your day in the beach, working your way with tourists or sports or whatever it is that you do. That's pretty much, that is very true to the story. And by the way, all the foreigners, Cabarete is like a one street town, and it has, I think, more than 50 represented residents from like 50 different countries or more in there. You name it: Europe, Latin America, Northern Europe, Russia, Asia, the US, Canada, Southeast Asia. Yeah, they're there. And it's that's one of the beauties of it, that merging of cultures in that little town.
You're giving me so many things. I have to write them down so I don't lose track of the things I want to follow up on what you're saying. Yeah. I had a funny thought while you're telling me that. I don't want to knock, I don't want to belittle acting, but would it be harder to get someone and teach them how to act or teach them how to kite surf?
Now, interesting question. And I'm not sure about the answer on this one. I feel that I've gone very Eastern philosophy on this one. And that is, it really depends on the energy of the person. Now, for example, with Adeuri, which is the main character in the movie, Adeuri Corniel, that's his name in real life, not his character name. He had you have to imagine, these people are from the hood, okay? They don't even go to classes from Monday to Friday, like in this case, he had a Saturday school. Now, street savvy, he had learned 5 languages on his own, okay? And he would never wear sandals or anything. He would be barefoot all the time. I'm talking, this is Caribbean sun. This is not US sun. Like when it hits noon, it's like burning in the tarmac, And but these people have the best. They also have the best lively energy. Now, among the people that I auditioned at Deori, he was very gung-ho. Like his energy was that I've seen very, very little in my life among all the people that I've met. Like he wanted to start. He had never read a script in his life, to the degree that he thought that he had to do all the lines of all the characters. Like you put the characters in the middle and like the dialogue, and he's like, okay, Ivan, do I have to memorize every line? No, just one character. And we were having lunch or something, and he said, okay, I was gonna drop the bomb on him and said, all right, we're gonna have to read this 120 pages or whatever, And I thought it was gonna overwhelm him. I know it does to a bunch of people that I know. And he was like, okay, why don't we start right now, And he wanted to start like right then and there, start reading it, So like we have to go to the office, start reading it. 8 hours later, he wanted to go again and again. Like this is the type of person. And I could see how like he improved so much. Just to finish his idea, for example, for the audition, I had a lot of people that were not feeling confident enough to say like, let's go off and like put the whole movie on just writing on somebody that had never acted before. So I came up with the solution of maybe doing some test trials. Okay, so like we're gonna record a scene. We're gonna actually do coverage on a scene and see how it goes. So like I picked up 3 or 4, and I started rehearsing with them and actually doing tests with them. What I found with Adeori was like he was getting more energy and more energy and more energy to keep going and keep going and keep going. Where some of the other people were just like, I mean, the fatigue was just kicking in. It's like, it's not what you see in the movies. Acting is a real deal. That's why I wanted to do that. And for him, he just brought his A game. I mean, to the degree that you wouldn't imagine. Like, we shoot down there 5.5 days. It's like 5 days plus a half sometimes. And we had scheduled the wind, right? We had scheduled the wind for like next Wednesday. We're going to shoot wind stuff and stunts and all that stuff. What happened with the wind? It never showed up the days that we had scheduled it. I don't know. Maybe they didn't get the call sheet or something. And we have Adeori coming out. Like, he's there. He's doing all the stunts for himself, right? And he's coming and it's like, Ivan, we have to shoot tomorrow. We have to shoot. What is this that everybody's taking the day off, you know? And I'm like, no, Adeori, we cannot do this, you know? People need to rest. We can't. We have labor unions, but they are, you know, they are unwritten laws, you know, like we in a courtesy, you know. So everybody's respectful down there, and I'm like, Adeori, we can't do it, you know. We even if you want to, but what do you mean? It's just putting the camera here, you know. Let's grab the camera, just see me and press and record, and I'll do everything. They just need to press the camera, man. I'm gonna be doing the work. And
you don't want a mutiny, though.
Right. Of course, you know. And he came out to the crew. He's like, brother, come with me. Let's shoot this scene, because he knew we were not gonna be able to shoot those scenes because we didn't have the days. You know, we were running against the clock. We were scraping our budget. You know, it's like we were gonna hit the ground eventually on that budget, and we. Lo and behold, like, it's true. We didn't get the days to shoot the kite scenes. So I basically took off my directing cap and put on my almost like, you know, DP cap on, you know, and like almost like took a friend, another DP at that point, you know, and I already had storyboarded and went out with like a skeleton crew and like all the action cameras I put myself, you know, went into the water and got the sequences for kite surfing later on. I mean, months later on.
Wow, that's cool. What was the cinematography situation like? You have I mean, I don't even. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I don't even really remember indoor scenes. I only remember the beautiful outdoors and the natural light. Was it easy to shoot?
I wouldn't say easy, no. But then again, every production, every movie has its challenges. So like, just always go into a movie thinking there's going to be a challenge. Now the DP, this guy Antonio Riestra, a fantastic guy. He has shot a bunch of movies in the US. He shot a horror movie called Mama up here, and also gotten a bunch of awards in Spain. He's from Mexico, by the way. He came down, great guy. And he gave it his all. Now, one conversation I was having with him is like very different walking 20 steps in a soundstage than walking 50 yards in the beach. You know, where your foot are going down in the sand and the sand goes in, and the equipment, you have to be careful about the equipment. You know, so we shot with the Alexa, which is a very good camera, and they have it down there in the Dominican Republic, and a bunch of action cameras, and we're just gunning it with the clock. That's what we're trying to do most of the time, because again, I told you all the crew was from Santo Domingo, most of it, but we're shooting in the northern coast, so like there was some infrastructure that we needed to bring up to be shooting there, and we also have to give 3 meals and put people up in hotels. And at that moment, you know, it's like it just brought down the number of hours that I had directing the actors, you know. So like what I did was like I rehearsed with the actors the day before, kind of thing, and like trying to gun it. Particularly the 2 Europeans that were there, they're established actors in their respective countries, Belgium and France, and so we had them for a very few days. You know, they came in, and we just go and shoot with them, basically very quick. But we needed to. I'm so lucky they were so good. We had been rehearsing, I guess, like they do in COVID days. It's like we're rehearsing remotely or something.
Oh, yeah,
very old fashioned on that type of. I like to be in the room, get the moment. So I think those were the challenges.
Did you need to bring generators? I've heard, like I said, the family there says sometimes the power goes out in certain hours of the day.
Oh my God! Yes. And I'm friends with us. I know some other people that are now in I think like the mayor, the politics. I'm trying to put that cable to them, to like just do whatever we can to keep that water and that electricity running. Let's do whatever we can, because it's not just the electricity, it's the water. Okay, like the water goes out, and like you have to have like containers of water, so like you can keep the maintenance up and the hygiene up. Of course, like when you see, we shot in what is the main character's house, and it's again all shot on location. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful town. But the water just ran out, like the electricity ran out all the time, like so yeah, that's a real thing. That's also another thing at a production, but then the plus that you get is so much. Like you get the beauty of the space, you get that beach, and really they're very film friendly. Like if I were to shoot, I mean, also like in a bunch of states are very film friendly, but if you shoot here in LA, you're gonna have to pay a lot for the location. Like down in Dominican Republic, they're gonna be very helpful. Like the location's not gonna be that much, and you're gonna have also the community coming out and the police coming out and patrolling the area, protecting you. So yeah, they're very friendly on that end.
I've been there. I mean, the movie I produced in Lake County, we didn't even pay for any locations, and we had ridiculous things that we needed, and just everybody was just so excited to be working to support something that's going on in their area, that they just helped out. They came out, they were extras, they let us be where we wanted, and it was great, for sure. What can you tell me about the story? It says it's loosely based on a true story. Can you give us details on that?
So what I had, it was like I had several friends in Cabarete, and that had gone through some stuff in kitesurfing. Some of them had gone up in kitesurfing. Some of them had not gone up in kitesurfing, and it had kind of like straight off. So I did formal interviews with the few of them, like 3 or 4. And then I composited their character into one character. That's kind of like the way it happened. And so like some of the things had happened to Adeori himself, for example, but not all of them. Some of the things had happened to another person, but not all of them. And we kind of like made the story around that true story that happens in Cabarete. So like to give you an example, the relationship between sponsors and these young athletes is very much like that. Sometimes they have a sponsor that like has some like shady deal and drops them, and then they need to like maneuver to get another sponsor that's a good sponsor, and sometimes they even block the access to the or so I've heard, block the access to the beach, so they can't practice anymore, and they live off practicing. I mean, this is what this is all about. Like they don't, like they're two sorts of athletes. I say that the best plan A in life is not having a plan B. Like when you look at all the great Dominican baseball players and these kite surfers, Adori, for example, is top 5 in the world. I think he won the world championship a few times. And this is, when you look at the statistics, most of these people were like very committed because they come from, like, say, the more popular areas, and like if they don't make it doing this, they're not gonna make it something else. It's not like they're gonna go out and be a lawyer or a doctor, so like they have to make it. And that's some of the things that I wanted to put in the story. Like also, everybody's looking for paradise in the story. I don't know, like people that are from Europe or Canada, they're looking for paradise in the island, and it is paradise. I come here to California and I realize how much of a paradise Dominican Republic is. Now you go to the Dominican Republic, we don't have we can't just travel. We can't just go to the US. We can't just go even like to Europe or any, like very few places we can go without a visa, you know? So like you have to have access and, you know, start putting papers together to be able to get a visa to travel, you know? So like some of these people, they want to go and see, like you see, when the first time I'm in the island, you know, and they show me a world map. Okay, I remember the first time they showed me a world map, and they say, where is the Dominican Republic? You know, and I'm looking at Africa. You know, I'm looking at Europe, the U.S., and they say, no, 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 it's this little tiny thing that you see here. You know, you get an idea how big the world is. You know, but so they're looking to explore that. You know, and I think the main character, I put a little bit of myself in there, where it's like, you know, you want to explore and see what's out there. And the good thing about Cabarete is that you get those cultures coming in and giving you a glimpse of what is out there. You know, snow. You know, for example. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. The people coming are, maybe you said snow, but as far as people from those countries, I feel like that would be a bad representative of the people in those countries, because it would only be the people that are out on vacation or out looking for something. You know what I mean?
That's correct. That's correct. So like what you have is that there is a cocktail of type of tourists, you know. So there are some expats there in Cabarete, and that's what makes it interesting. People that have been there for like 20 years, you know. So like you get, and it's true, you don't get to know the person that hasn't traveled. Let's say I go to Lake County, you know, and I start hanging out with people that are just born and raised, you know, there. That's when I get to know what it is to be around the area, not the Lake County guy that has traveled down to the Dominican Republic. And I think there's a little bit of the motif of that, you know, and it's like what it means to get out of your cocoon. And that's a relationship that Somalia has with his father, Bartolo, in the story, where his father may have had an opportunity to go abroad as a baseball player, but he kind of like wanted to stay in. Like this guy figured it out without even going. That's kind of like what I found out. Like he figured out that this is the life that he actually wanted, you know, as opposed to see. And there's nothing wrong with like seeking other types of life. That's why in the movie, Adeuri, in this case Somalia, goes out and decides to go out there and do something else, regardless of what his father says. Because his father is like, you know, this is my story, this is what I think you should do, but he doesn't kind of do that at the end, you know, like he goes out and explores the world and like fights for what he wants, which came out to be a very good coincidence that he actually did. And you get that video at the end of the movie where it's himself, Adeuri, you know, saying like, I'm number one. That's so powerful, you know, when you see somebody that's 8 years old saying they're number one. By the time he's 18, 19, he becomes number one, you know, and you're thinking, wow, that's kind of like the history of America. You can make it, you know, that's how this country got together here, you know, got made. I feel people coming here making it.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I've been hardly anywhere. I use film as my avenue for experiencing other places, which is why I find it so important, you know.
Yeah.
You know, seeing these stories from other places. Is the part of the story, you know, some of it's true and some of it's heightened and whatever. Is the allure of the nightlife a common experience there? I mean, I see people that are training to be the best and training to get what they want, and then when I see him start to lose it in the nightlife, I just shake my head and like, you know, it's so obvious you're not supposed to be doing that. Is that a common experience?
Well, it happens, you know. That's you, and again, I'm not trying to make a social comment. I'm not trying to be preachy about it. Like when you go to very much conservative views on it, it's like, wow, they have this nightlife there, and it's not good, you know. When you show the movie in places that are more liberal, they're like, oh, is that the party lifestyle? I want to go there, you know. And so you get these two things here, right? But for the locals, now this is the true story about the locals. You know, some of them, They are, because the way that the culture is, everybody is very friendly down in the Dominican Republic, and they all are game to party all the time. It's like, I don't know, Ireland or something. I hear they are always down in a pub or something there. Well, in Dominican Republic, they're always down to like share a drink or hang out. And you want to go out to the beach, let's go. You want to go in the water at 3 a.m., let's go. But as you go up very quickly in this sport, and you have people coming from all over the world that have spent thousands of dollars on their equipment, they have money in their pocket, and they want to have a good time, and they are giving you free drinks and free this, and come to the hotel, and you sit down by the beach and by the pool, and you're having all this great stuff. You can get hooked on it if you may. So some people do. Some people get used to kind of like the easy life, and they stray away. Maybe they start drinking a lot, and they start not putting their A game in the athlete in the.
I don't have a problem with partying and having fun and doing drugs or anything else like that, but it's not good for an athlete. And when I see people that have put all that energy into being an athlete, and then failing on that aspect, and then getting into that, it's not that it's not good, but it's not good for practice. It's not good for getting up the next morning and doing your thing,
Yeah, well, that's kind of like the way, that's what we have in the story. It's like, it's somebody that is like derailing because of the good life, that Dolce Vita, and like that Dolce Vita does exist. It is there, you have the parties, you have that, but you have to be also committed to what you want to do in life. Like if you don't do that, then you're going to wake up and saying like, wait, I was a spectator on my own life. I signed off on my own life while I was, having fun or something. And that is very much a true story. That is very much a true story. There are people that haven't made it and have gone the dark side. That's the way that I can describe it. Maybe they have gone into becoming, breaking the law or something. And it's a little bit of a sad moment when you see somebody that had the potential, but like straight away. And some of the souls that are coming are from abroad are great. Some other are lost souls too. Want somebody to join them in their despicable practices, or I don't know. So you get that. It's part of the microcosm. I mean, it's like the jungle, that's what makes the jungle beautiful. There's some danger in it. Like if it was just, a sandbox, then what's the point? That life has good and it also has dangers, and they're always there. It's something that we have to live with and choose. It's our choice that matters.
Yeah. I mean, we can go out and party and you can still, write the next day, and I can still go watch movies, but
yeah. Drink responsibly. Drink responsibly. There's a lot in that phrase,
Yeah.
You do everything responsibly,
So you're from there, you went to school and you came back and you made the movie, and then you went back and finished the movie, and then you were able to bring it back and show everyone there?
Yeah, well, that's one of the greatest joys, though. So we had a theatrical run in Dominican Republic. People loved the movie. We're very happy of the reception that it had. But I came out to the distributors and I wanted to make give something back to the community. Cabarete, Puerto Plata. I mean, you mentioned it. We shot the movie entirely there. Well, guess what? Cabarete doesn't have a cinema. So, like, how are we going to show the movie? One of the things that I did was I literally was like, no, we have to do something about this, We had already blown through our whole budget or whatnot, but, basically scraped our pockets and put together a screening for free in Cabarete. So we hired a inflatable screen, and this like people that dedicate themselves to show cinema to all these little towns in the island that don't have cinemas, because the island has few cities, big, but then a bunch of other little towns that like they don't have access to cinema. And we set up the whole thing in front of the beach, in front of the bars, and put 300 chairs in there. Lo and behold, 600 plus people. I mean, people were kind of like 1,000 people came out there. It's like we filled the beach, and it was the best experience. Like seeing people cry of joy, seeing themselves on the screen. Deori had never seen himself on the screen before
Wow.
watching the movie. Same with Bibi. Is actually a true guy. Like if you want to go down to Dominican Republic and take kite surfing classes, this guy does a holistic thing. Like you do kite surfing, yoga, and hiking, whole thing like Bibi. And he's in the movie. That's his name. That's not a fake. It's his real name. So he was there. He saw himself with friends, family. Family came out. It was beautiful. And so that was kind of like how it was. The best part of movie making is, I feel, showing it to people and seeing that people respond to that.
Absolutely.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. That's why I thank you also for showing it at Lake County. I'm honored here.
It's my pleasure. That's what I just love to do, is connect movies to people. And I can't wait until this pandemic is over. I'd love to go visit. That would be fantastic. It looks great. It sounds great. Tomas had heard of it. I asked him when I first saw the movie, maybe in February, and they were like, no, I never heard of this movie. And then I saw him again in August or so, and he's like, oh, yeah, they told me. I heard about that. He calls home he's always on the phone. He talks to somebody at home. And somebody had told him about the screening and stuff like that. So that's really cool. So what's next for the movie? I know you've been playing a bunch of festivals. Where are we going next?
Look, and I say this to everybody that is listening here right now, the best thing that they could do for the movie is going on to IMDb and voting for it. Whatever it is that they want to vote for it, just go in there, because this is the type of thing that the streamers look at these days, or the distributors look at these days. So we have a distributor in the United States, and the movie is going to continue the festival route, but it's going to hopefully show up on Amazon or Netflix or HBO sometime soon. Who knows? I'm not saying one of them. Whichever one, whatever they decide. And as for me, I mean, talking with people that see the movie, doing Q&As on that end, and focusing on the next projects. I feel like filmmaking is like I don't know if you ever went to like a Pizza Hut or something like that. They have this conveyor belt things, like where they put the pizza on one end, and as the pizza coming out, there's already a pizza in the middle, and there's another coming in. So that's the way that I'm at. Like we shot Cabarete a few years back, and now it's coming out this year. It came out this year, but since then it's just like working on the development, working on the next projects. Not that I can talk too much about them, but exciting things. Even among COVID, it's like working. That's what you can do in every profession. It's like waking up every day and putting some time into it. In this case, writing a lot, because the filmmaking kind of where it was hindered through the COVID situation. Now it's coming back online, but it's a gradual process.
I've been curious if we're going to hit a new renaissance after this ends, of all the people who've been writing. We've had the writer strikes where they're not supposed to write, but so many people are probably generating ideas now because they have nothing to do. And when production comes back on, I'm wondering if we're going to hit a situation where we have all this cream at the top that's going to get made at once. And if, 2022 or whatever is going to be, the best year for film ever,
I think it's going to be very exciting, 2022, for sure. What you have is like filmmaking, like a directing, production, physical production kind of stopped for a moment. So you have all these writers in their house. They can't go anywhere. They can't go to restaurants. They can't be traveling. They're writing, So like it's writers have continued to work in Hollywood.
Yeah.
But now I think that there's a saying that there's a little bit of a bottleneck. Like all this material, there's no way the studios are going to be able to like shoot all that material. There's too much piling up on this end, So there is so
hopefully there'll be so much that if they're just pulling out, they'll be able to pull the best possible stuff out of there, and it'll be hopefully.
And that's my take, So there's some notion in there that it's like, oh my God, how's mine gonna get picked for production if there's so much material out there? But it also creates what you're saying. Like we need to think about the audience, like if you have all this, like the greats are gonna come up top, and that if you have something unique, people want to have good content. Now people are watching content more than ever. The beautiful thing about Lake County, it was a virtual film festival this year, right? So you get to watch the movie wherever you are. I mean, if it's geopolitically geotagged or whatever, but you know what I mean, like from the house.
Yeah.
So it's an exciting time for sure. I'm very much excited for what we're going to make.
So much more opportunities for interaction with. I mean, I might have had 15 or 20% filmmaker Q&As last year because people aren't driving out or flying out. But it's been so great to get to talk to everybody, and everybody is so great, and everybody seems very starved for conversation, adult conversation with another person directly, and especially about their work, obviously. But so often we divert into philosophy of everything. I spent 15 minutes just talking to somebody about Stranger Things this afternoon.
Yeah.
Just because that's what we wanted to talk about. It's there's a lot of positivity here as well. A lot of opportunity to be had in sharing films. So I posted in the comments, I posted your IMDb link. Not only should they vote, but write a review if you like.
Oh my God, yes, write a review for sure.
I also posted your Letterboxd link, which is so much better to use than IMDb. I hope that at some point Letterboxd will take over IMDb because it's so much more fun. It's so much easier to use. It's fantastic. So I posted a link to your page on Cabarete as well. Cabarete.
Oh,
I always missed that second A the first time.
Yeah, I'm so glad that they have put up portals like Letterboxd. I mean, it does help, yeah, and technology grows and changes so quick. Nobody that I know of knew about Zoom before, like, I don't know, 2 years ago or a year ago, and now and also StreamYard. For me, it's new, and look how they have taken over. Everybody that I know talking about StreamYard, Zoom, and maybe StreamYard had some more time, but what I'm saying is like Letterboxd is something new for me. But I looked at it and it just looks very nice, very to the point. It's very much user kind of oriented. So I'm glad that these platforms are out there, and if they have a review anywhere that they either Letterboxd or IMDb, we need that online presence, because as I mentioned before, we had this going live talk. It's like I'm a little bit of a hermit, I'm working on writing or giving notes or development and post production, whatever it is, and then we have all these portals to get our knowledge or our knowledge of our work out there, so like that's where the film festivals come on, the Q&As come on, all this like reviews and the voting and all that stuff, because people look at this so important. Like the first thing that I do, even I'm gonna be honest, like if it's not a classic and there's a new movie and it's being recommended to me, I'm gonna look at that IMDb or or the reviews. I'm gonna see what people are saying about it, because time is finite,
All right, well, it's great to talk to you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the film, and we'll be back later tonight for some more discussions.
Oh my God, Matt, thank you so much for the time, and goodbye, everybody. Keep enjoying the film festival. Watch good movies.